36. 36. Students, please pay attention. As most of you have, so there are 2 combined class today. At the end, I do not want anyone speaking. We are starting with today's class. As we have already, most of you have covered memory. Now we are going ahead. Memory we didn't finish for one class, but we are starting with another topic which is called attention. Attention is page number 36 in your books. What is attention, everybody? Attention. Paying focus at a point. But I don't see people focusing here. Do you want to go out? I can't teach this class if you're talking. If you're talking, I can't teach you. Not talking to you, to the people who are speaking. Attention we are covering, and I want you to please pay attention to the class. Attention is basically when we pay attention to any stimulus. For instance, right now I am the stimulus who is a teacher who is trying to teach you attention. So attention is basically bringing your attention and focus to a certain thing. It can be a stimulus, it can be an object, that is called attention. So there are some concepts like selective attention, sustained attention. What do you think we mean by sustained attention?
When we focus on a specific thing.
Yeah. When we focus on a certain thing and we sustain that attention for a longer duration, that is called sustained attention. Have you seen there are people on a metro station standing outside with a gun? What are they looking for? Any target. If there is any target or somebody who is misbehaving or there is some kind of mishappening, so there have to be sustained attention, right? If they do not have sustained attention, do you think they will be able to gauge the target? They might miss somebody who is actually there for some wrong purposes. So there the sustained attention comes into the play, okay? So there is a concept of sustained attention, selective attention. Whatever I am speaking to you right now, when I spoke about the gun and metro, a lot of attention came to me. Before what I said, you don't remember. You are selectively attending to certain things what I am saying, and some things you feel not important and you are not attending to it. So we all have selective attention. If I tell you, if I ask you, repeat what I said, everybody will say differently. Some things everybody will pick, but everyone will speak one thing different. Not everything you will say. So why you all, although have the same stimuli, which is me speaking to you, everyone is speaking differently because you have selective attention. You selectively decide some things and that you select and that you process further. Okay? So this is called selective attention. Sustained attention, have you understood? What is divided attention? You must have heard a lot of time people saying,
when we are not able to focus on one particular stimuli.
When we intentionally divide our attention into something.
yeah. So it can be intentional or it can be not intentional. Divided attention. Now here people are speaking to each other and also listening to me. Also processing what the person is saying and also listening to me. And maybe your attention is also outside and maybe on the clock also. And maybe on your stomach also, because you are hungry. So your attention is divided into so many things. That's called divided attention. So we have capacity to divide our attention. However, the effectivity of our attention gets reduced, which means that I can have divided attention. I can pay attention to what my friend is saying, at the same time listen to Sanchita ma'am. But how much effectively I am actually able to listen to this person and to the ma'am, that's a question. That is called divided attention. Understood? Very simple, easy words. So, in selective attention, there are some models that are important. Selective attention. First model is filter theory. It was given by Broadband in 1956. Filter theory. Everybody, filter theory talks about that we are always bombarded with a lot of stimuli from the environment. Right? We are being bombarded by all the stimuli in the environment. People are entering, people are talking, so many stimuli we are bombarded with. However, our sensory channel have limited capacity and it bottlenecks, which means that it filter out some stimuli which are not important and reject it. And some relevant information goes to short-term memory. For instance, there are people speaking at the back, right? You feel that is not important. So your brain will automatically bottleneck it. Bottleneck means filter it out and only listen to me. And if you think that what ma'am is telling is not important, then I will be bottlenecked or filtered out and you will only remember what your friend is saying. That's called filter theory given by Broadband. Another is called attenuation theory. Attenuation theory was given by Tressman in 1962. Page number 37. It is called filter attenuation theory. Attenuation, anybody understand the meaning of word attenuation? Attenuation is usually used in a term that weakening, gradual weakening, okay? So what does it mean? The theory means that we actually reduce the intensity of stimulus, not completely block the stimulus. So filter theory say that what my friend is saying totally blocked, I can't listen at all, okay? Attenuation say no, I can listen to a friend, I can listen to Sanchita ma'am, only the thing that I am more interested in, I will remember that more, but the friend what is saying, I still remembers. I mean, only it is the stimulus a little weaked, it is weakened, hence I don't clearly remember, but it's not totally gone. So I little bit remember what he was trying to say, one few words or something he's trying to say, not so clearly. So this theory say that it attenuates, which means that the signal gets weakened as per our attention, but it does not totally get blocked, which was spoken by Broadband. Yeah, filter approach. Hence, some stimulus that slip through filter reaches short term. An example can be cocktail phenomena. So for instance, when you go in a party, there is a lot of noises that are coming to you, but somebody takes your name. Anybody Rahul here? Any name, you know, whatever. So, yeah. So basically, if there is so much of noise and I take your name, you will automatically, your attention goes to that name and you will maybe reject all other noises, right? So that is called filter attenuation theory. Understood? The third is multi-model theory. Multi-mode theory, sorry. It is given by Johnson. It says that the theory assumes that information moves from one stage to another and the mental effort gets reduced. Now that I am talking about attention, when I started talking about attention, you were paying a lot more attention. It sounds rhythmic though, but yeah. So, because you were trying to understand the concept, as I'll go ahead, your effort to understand this concept will become less because you have understood the context, you have understood the concept, and further we are understanding the concept. So, which means that we have multi-mode where as we move ahead from one stage to another stage, our mental effort requires increases or decreases as per how we are moving from one stage to another stage. Okay? So, in the first stage, it usually go low intensity. Understood? Any doubt? So, it can be that it becomes easy as we go or it can become harder as we go, depending on how we are moving from one stage to another. Okay? Understood? Next, what are the factors that affect selective attention? Okay? We were talking about these model in selective attention. What are the factor effect? What can be the external factor that impact our selective attention? Tell me. Yeah. Environment, what in environment?
Distracting environment.
Yeah, what is distracting here?
For example, if you're having a conversation with
Yeah.
for example, if we're having a conversation with someone and all of a sudden we hear a loud noise.
Yeah.
So our attention gets shifted towards that loud noise.
Yeah, yeah. So, in our environment, there are many factors that impact our selective attention, which is external factor, which would mean, for example, it can look like how large the object is, okay, or how bright the object is, okay. It can also be something that is moving. If you just see something moving quickly, your attention will quickly go to that. If something is just steady here, you will not pay attention. But movement, immediately your attention will go. If an object is there and I have shown a big colorful slides, your attention will go more. If it's a black colored slides, you will not pay attention to it more. So, our external factors like, for instance, the how large the objective, how bright it is, if it is moving, all these catch our attention in our environment. Hence, we have more selective attention to those stimuli. However, if it is static, if it's not colorful, it's very small, it will not get a lot of attention. If I have a patch on my suit right now and it's a big patch, everyone will notice. However, it's a small patch, you will not notice, which means that these are the external factors which impact our selective attention or, yeah, selective attention. Understood? What are the internal factors that impact our selective attention?
What's going in our mind?
Cognition, our mental state. Yes?
What's going in our mind, some emotions or something?
Yeah. Yeah. For instance, I am hungry. Now it's time for lunch. I am hungry. So, if somebody opens the tiffin, I will quickly get the sense that, you know, parathas are there, aloo ka, and I'm distracted, right? Now, if I'm not hungry, then that will not happen. I might not even notice that somebody has opened the tiffin box. Why it's happening? Because of my internal factor. I am hungry internally, you know, or I am thirsty. So that is catching my attention. Okay, what can be more example? Any more example? Okay. Emotional state. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So your emotional state also impacts, which is your internal. If you are worried about something outside right now, you will not understand attention, right? So your internal state has a lot of impact on your selective attention. Okay? Now that I said something you are disturbed right now about, there are few of you must have quickly jumped into listening to me, which you were not earlier, because you might be disturbed with something, right? So that gauges our attention quickly. Okay? Now we are talking about, there is one concept called preparatory set. Okay? Which means that we have, every individual have some kind of alertness and expectation, and that prepares us to take that information. For instance, right now I start teaching you about personality, and you were not prepared for it, and you immediately get this thing, personality, so this is not in our course, why it's been taught, and where it is coming from. So you're not prepared to learn, because you didn't have this cognitively, it was not told to you, and you are not ready for it. However, when you're ready for something, you easily get that attention, that things get your attention quickly. Understood?
Yes,
Okay. Now we are going ahead to, we have spoken about selective attention. Now we are moving to sustained attention. I just explained you about sustained attention. Anybody would like to tell me again what is sustained attention?
When you focus on a specific thing for a longer time.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It is also known as, it is also known as vigilance. Vigilance. Vigilance is you are vigilant for a longer period of time to see, attend to a stimulus. Okay, that's also known as vigilance. What are the factors that impact the sustained attention? Sensory modality, which means that sense, to keep sustained attention, there are some kind of modality which are more prominently have greater capacity than all other senses. For instance, auditory sense has greatest capacity to have sustained attention than any other senses. So auditory way, you are able to sustain attention for a longer. Then comes visual. So the best way to learn is to listen first. So we are able to sustain attention maximum with the auditory, and later as we go ahead it can be visual, and then further senses. Okay? This is called sensory modality, which contribute to our sustained attention. Second is clarity of stimuli. Okay? If you are understanding this clearly, what I am talking, you are able to sustain your attention. If at one point you feel that you didn't understand, then you will not be able to process further. Is that true? Does this happen in the classes? That's called clarity of stimuli. So the more clear, less complex is become, more intense and more lasting it stays with us. Because it has to be clear. If I'll just write something here, now it just doesn't make sense. It's not clear what is written. Hence, you're not able to sustain your attention to that. However, these things you are able to because it's clear to you what's written. Okay? Another is temporal uncertainty. When the stimulus is seen more often, it is registered better than those who are seen less often. Now, there are students who come often to the classes, and there will be some students who come very less. So you are able to sustain attention to those students more because these are the often people that you see in a class. That's called temporal uncertainty. If you have seen the person very less, maybe 1-2 times, then how will you sustain attention to that person, because you don't know. Similarly, it is for any stimuli. Okay? So temporal uncertainty reduces our sustained attention, which means I need to see that stimulus more. If I am more certain about that stimulus, it will have more certainty, and then it will create more sustained attention. Is this clear? Should I explain more? Yes? Explain more? Okay. Let me give one more example maybe. Anybody who can try giving example who have understood? Temporal uncertainty.
Ma'am, for example, we can take the example of the topic that you're talking about. When we take the example of the topic that you're teaching us, which is attention, if there is a repetition of these concepts, that for example, if you've taken these classes more often, you have taken these lectures in our classes more often than other concepts that you have explained, then we would have a better understanding of this concept, and we would be able to attend what you're trying to say and comprehend it in a better way as compared to the other lectures that you would be giving us. Because there is a repetition of it.
Yeah. So if I repeat the content to you and I kind of try to correlate it with one another, you are able to have certainty about this thing कि ये हो रहा है बार बार, राइट? उससे आपकी अटेंशन ज़्यादा जाएगी उस मटेरियल पे. अगर मैं आपको बार बार एक चीज़ रिपीट करूँ तो आप एग्जाम में जब जाएंगे तो वो आपको याद आएगा, right? Because you are certain this keeps coming to you again and again. I kept speaking about that again and again in a class. If I just said one thing and then something some other day, for instance, maybe for your exam, filter theory is very important. So I keep mentioning filter theory even if I am teaching some other concept to you. And I keep bringing filter model again and again. So then you will have more sustained attention to this concept because it keep coming. However, if it is just coming once and last may I mention, it will not stay in your mind for a longer. Understood now? Okay. Spatial uncertainty, which also speak about in a location, we better notice the stimuli which comes again with certainty. If it is uncertain, randomly coming, then we might not. Okay? It is same as temporal, which was related to what? Time, how often. And spatial will mean location. Okay? Understood? There is a concept called automatic and controlled processing in attention. What do you think it means? Yeah. So there is concept of automatic I'll take one example. Who all know how to drive a car? Okay. Now, all of you, when you started learning car, initially you had to put a lot of conscious attention to learning. कि भाई हमें लेफ्ट दबाना है, राइट दबाना है, गियर चेंज करना है. What is happening? You know, I have to attend to पीछे तो कोई नहीं है, आगे तो कोई नहीं है. All that I have to manage. It's a lot of conscious attention I am paying initially when I am starting to learn driving. However, after practice, what it happened? Automatic. Now you speak to people also on call, you are playing music, you are seeing around, you may be eating also while driving, which is not, should not do, talking also while driving, which you should not do, but we do, because it has become more automatic now. So I don't have to consciously put a lot of attention. So that is what is automatic and controlled processes is inattention. Okay? Understood? So automatic is usually little attention and awareness is required. It is unintentional and involuntary. However, with control, it is a control is we are putting a lot of cognitive emphasis on that stimulus. We have to put a lot of load in our cognitive capacity to complete that task because it is conscious and I am not aware of it. Okay? Clear? Okay. So this is some very important concepts that are there in your attention. I'll probably start with, because we have a little more time, do we? You want to study more? We'll little start with problem solving, okay? What is problem solving? What do you think?
Solving a problem.
Wow, that's very intelligent. Okay, everybody. So problem solving now, we are just covering little part of it and then we'll finish and you can eat. Problem solving, whenever we talk about problem, everybody problem? Are you listening to me? Problem? Okay. That's how I get your attention. Okay. Problem is basically when there is mental effort or a conflict is there. There is some conflict. Problem comes when there is some kind of mental conflict is there and we have to do thinking, we have to do certain way, cognitive processes we have to involve in coming to some kind of solution to it. Okay? There is some kind of disturbancy and there is some actual state and some achievable state. So there is, for example, let's take a simple example of you deciding to stay in this class or leave this class. So you have to decide, then you have to do the pros and cons, right? And then you will think that what is the best option to do as per your choice, okay? So then there is thinking involved and there is some kind of processes that are going on. We'll take some different types of conflicts that can come and how you can solve that problem. So there is one conflict which is called approach conflict, which is called two situations are there and both have positive aspect. You have to choose between two desirable. For example, going to a movie with a family or going on a date. Or, so these are two things that are very attractive to you. Both of these, it's given in your book, the example. So these two are things that you want to do. These are two conflicting situations. You want to be at both the places, but you cannot. It's a conflict. Now, you have to resolve it in certain way. Okay? So this is approach. Or maybe, for instance, you are on diet and you like gulab jamun and you also like cheesecake. Now, you are given just one chance to eat for 5 minutes. Now, you like both of them, mix karke, now you're solving the problem. So, that's called approach. Second is avoidance approach conflict. Avoidance. वो भी है. Avoidance. Okay. Now, what can be the example of going to a dentist or avoiding it? So, avoiding is painful, and going to a dentist is also painful. Not studying in the class is, so like it anyways. So painful, studying in the class and staying here is painful, and failing is also painful. So what do you, how do you, these are two conflicts. Now how do you choose that, which, how to take a decision? Okay, so that's a two conflicting, avoidance, avoidance. Second is approach and avoidance. Now, there is this example given in your book only. Marriage has both positive and negative. Now, positive is also there, negative is also there. So, it has positive also, avoidance, which is approach, and avoidance is negative. Now, both of these things are there. How do you decide what to do? Will you marry or not marry? Another is multiple approach and avoidance, which means that marriage or choosing a particular career or choosing a company for work. So there are multiple approach and multiple avoidance, and you have to choose one thing out of it. So these are the conflict problems where problem solving comes. So what is the application of this in psychology? If your client comes in and come with such examples that I discussed, now you have to sit with them for a problem solving. And you will guide them through how they can solve this problem. A lot of people stay in a confusion only and not able to decide anything, which might lead to a lot of problems. So this is what is some of the concepts that are important in problem solving. So how do we now solve these conflicts? That's also important. So how do you solve, for instance, let's take one example. Which one you want to take, bataiye? Of course. So we can take going to dentist and having pain. These are two conflicts. What comes under? This is under? Avoidance.
Avoidance, approach.
Avoidance it comes under. Because going to a dentist is painful and pain is also painful. Okay? Problem solving, first is, so there are ways to solve problem. How do we solve this problem? How do we solve this problem? We will solve by some stages, some steps we will take. So the first step would be understanding and defining a problem. It is very important to first we have to understand the problem kya hai, right? That is first step. Second is gathering information or possible solution. Jaise for example, what can be the possible solution in the avoidance? Pain hota hai to going to a dentist who maybe use some techniques where less pain is there.
Or maybe ma'am taking some pain relieving
medicines, right?
Short-term relief.
Yeah, very good. So I am gathering, formulating possible solution for this problem. Okay. So what can be the tentative? I'll collect information. Who is the dentist? Like there are so many dentists, right? That painless surgeries and treatments and all. You know, so maybe I'll find that out, that who are these painless dentists. So I will try to gather information about them. Then evaluate the possible solution, that what can be. Now if I am going to a painless, who less pain is there with the dentist, then maybe the expenses are too high, I can't afford, right? So many things are there. So I will evaluate the possible solutions, choose the right path, evaluate the result, and then revision. Okay? So this is the steps that we go through. Have you understood? Clearly? Okay. So understanding problem, second is what? Gathering information. Third? hypothesis. Hypothesis?
Imagining what could be the possible scenarios or
Yeah.
outcomes.
Choosing right path, evaluating the result, and the revision. Revision would mean I will see, again evaluate and revise that if that was the right way to go ahead. Okay?
Rectify.
I can go back to rectify if I think that the evaluation, it is not the something good I've done or right thing I've done. All right. So that is all for today. I hope you have understood things that I've taught you. I've taught you attention. I've taught you problem solving some part. Okay. Bye. Thank you. I'll just. It's done. Yeah, done.
See how selective attention works.
Yeah, I know.